some people are excited about, other people dread, and that is the lawn. Some people, the line of procession is family, God, and grass. And some people want to have a lush, beautiful lawn and to maintain it all summer long to keep it very pleasing and picture perfect.
Or just nice to walk on, I guess.
Yes.
Right. So, so not all grasses are the same. And I think that's important to know.
There's some people that their lawn is whatever is there and whatever comes up, they mow once a week, and that's the way the story goes. There's other people that do put an investment into their lawn. One, maybe for their own personal satisfaction. Two, to increase the property value of their home. And maybe they are in such of a location like a homeowners association where they have to do X, Y, Z in order to fall within the guidelines of that HOH.
Right. The biggest thing is that if you are maybe investing or whatever in a nicer lawn or a more
HOA
or something where you want a consistent type of grass and not like grass plus whatever else comes up, clover, whatever. The biggest thing is knowing what is good for your climate. So if you grow like a southern grass in a northern climate, it might not do so well. But if you grow the right grass for the right climate, as most things with plants are, if you're growing it outside, it has to have the correct climate. It's the same for grass. And
that's the reason why we're not going to specifically name a grass or grasses that would be good, because our show's on from in locations from Southern California all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts. So there's a lot of variations between those climates, but we're going to give you the general umbrella information on what you need to know in order to have success. And then you would want to get a hold of somebody at your local university extension office. They would know what the best grass that could be grown. Also, your local independent garden center would be another good spot to start with, going, hey, I want to have a manicured lawn. What kind of grasses or grass do you recommend for our area?
Right. And that's definitely a really great tip. Now, another great tip is to water early, water deep, and water often. This hurts my environmentalist soul that people are watering their grass. But,
if done correctly.
But if done correctly, you don't have to water as much, but you want to water earlier in the morning.
Right, and we've all seen driving down the pavement, the sidewalk, the driveway is getting more water on it than the actual lawn is. We've all been by those homes, and you kind of cringe when you do such. But the water deep, water often, water early, the trifecta here is the top key to a healthy lawn. Now, this is if you have the correct grass for your area and you're actually wanting the grass to be manicured and it's not just weeds or whatever the case is. Growing up at the farm, if the grass died, hey, we didn't have to mow it.
Well, right, and a lot of times grass will go dormant during the hottest parts of the year.
Certain grasses, right.
So that is another thing, is that if you have a dry looking grass, it's not, and you have a hot, droughty summer, it's not necessarily that.
Rip it up and put more in there. It's going through a survival situation.
Right. Yep. So it's doing its thing. But you also just want to make sure that you are watering early in the morning. So you'll see a lot of people come home from work, set up the sprinklers, whatever. But what happens is that
just like in the vegetable
world, you can, if you water in the evening, you can, well, this doesn't necessarily happen in the vegetable world, but for grass, watering in the evening or later at night can mean that you could get fungal infections.
Well, you're putting things to bed while they're damp in the vegetable world is just as damaging as your lawn by doing such. So setting up an irrigation system on a timer, so you have zones. And if you set it up on an irrigation system, if you're really committed to your lawn, you're going to invest in an irrigation system of some sort. It maximizes the water that is getting on the grass. It conserves the water because it's not going in places it shouldn't be going, and it has a certain duration of time. It's not like hook the sprinkler up, let's go inside. Oh, we forgot about it. 3 hours later, you go out and turn it off, and then you do it a week and a half from now. Inconsistency is not the key to a healthy lawn if you put the time and effort in the manicuring and specific grass seed or sod that you've brought in to get that. Another one is not to just mow it, to mow it.
Right. So you want to mow the grass higher than you think. And this might bother some people because they like a nice short grass. And especially like here, we were always told to mow the grass shorter because of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes will breed in tall grass. So this is something that is kind of a difference of opinion. Maybe you want to grow your grass taller. Maybe you have an effective mosquito, whatever, way to control mosquitoes program. Otherwise, maybe you just like the look of it.
But there's a key to reason why we want to mow it high. We're talking 3 to 3.5 inches high from ground level. And that way it's not as stressed or put in a shock whenever you mow it. If you mow it down just as low as the blade will go, you feel, I don't have to mow it now an extra couple of days. However, the recovery and the damage that you're doing to your lawn, if you don't care, it doesn't matter. This segment's not for you. But if you're actually looking to manicure your lawn, keeping it high, having a nice thick carpet of solid grass, and that's going to help it. You're going to have less cutoff. You're not bagging it. You're not mulching it. You're letting it fall back into the grass to break down and feed the soil. So it's not stressed as much because you're not cutting it as short as you may think that you should be.
Right. So that's, yeah. And it also helps shade the root system of the grass when it's not.
And the soil.
Short. Yeah, and the soil. So it could prevent weeds as well.
Yeah, keeping your mower working right as well makes a tremendous difference. If you've got a lawnmower blade that you've used to blade rocks, basically, you've ground rocks up, cling clang, and you're mowing over different terrains and you're digging into the ground or you chop things up you shouldn't be. By having dings and not a sharp blade, you're damaging the cut. It's not a clean cut on your grass. So you're actually causing stress on that as well. You wouldn't think so, but you look at the difference, and there's plenty of graphs online and videos, the difference between an actual sharp blade and a dull blade or a blade that has damage to it makes a very big difference in the cutting capabilities of that machine. Also, the load that machine has to do in order to cut properly.
Right. So, and that's the same thing with anything you're going to cut, whether it be herbs or vegetables in your kitchen. You want to make sure you're using a blade that's going to be a nice sharp blade that's going to be more effective and better, make your job easier and better for whatever you're cutting.
So keeping your mower working good, obviously key here. Don't mow in the sun when it's hot.
Right. Don't mow in the sun. So
this is one, there's a grass reason behind this, but also, do you want to be out there when it's 100 degrees with 110 heat index mowing grass? No.
Heck no.
You don't even want to be out there when it's 80 degrees and a heat index of 40, okay? So.
Well, not mowing the grass back and forth. But, so you want to mow early in the morning or later on in the afternoon. So, I mean, like, I know my mom, my manager at work, they all are like, I mow my grass before work, right? So maybe once a week you have to get up a little bit earlier, whatever, mow your grass. So be it.
And this softens the stress on that cut grass as well. Just like in the vegetable world, you harvest early in the morning when the plants are relaxed and the fruit is hydrated. So, and it's not stressed. Also, you want to feed your lawn. Now, obviously, this depends on the type of sod or the type of grass that you've got, but there are feeding schedules in which is recommended for specific grasses. You can get a Chapin Chapin spreader and fertilize your lawn. It can be every month, every 6 to 8 weeks. It all depends, and we're not going to give you specific ratios of what you should and shouldn't apply.
I think one thing to recognize here is that oftentimes when you go to your garden center and say, I want to feed my grass, if you don't go to a knowledgeable garden center, they're going to recommend something with a high nitrogen content.
That's the first number.
That's the first number on your bag. But that's not necessarily what you might need. You might need something for an overall grass.
Or a root development.
Yeah. So you have to keep that in mind because the nitrogen is going to make your grass grow faster typically.
Right. And yeah, you've got to go to a knowledgeable staff because the kid in the garden center or the paint shop, he'll say whatever. It doesn't matter. He's just getting paid, wants to go home. That's the end of the story. So keep that in mind. Also, follow the recommended rate on the back of the package, whatever you have. That's why it's there. Oh, just because it says XYZ, let's double it. That'll make it grow fast. No, you're actually doing more damage by over and under fertilizing than actually following the recommended rates. They're there for a reason. The company's done studies and tests on why those instructions are there. And finally, you want to take and not walk on the grass if that is the key. Now, obviously, if you have children playing, you can, it's a whole different thing, but some people don't like their grass to be walked on.
Right. And maybe you have a thoroughfare for neighborhood kids or whatever. Consider maybe taking that area and covering it with gravel or mulch or something. I know there was areas when I was growing up that we just ran back and forth to the neighbor's house, whatever. And I grew up in an area that nobody was like trying to have a prize lawn or anything.
Right.
But if you are, consider an alternative in that area. Think about where the high traffic areas are. And
we've talked about just because it's brown doesn't mean it's dead. It may just be that specific type of variety. You may have a mixed variety. There may be multiple types of grass in your area, and one is not susceptible to the heat as others are. And you may want to replace that if you're wanting everything to be universal and formed and colored correctly.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.